Now, you guys may have already known that just a couple of days ago, Bob Iger delivered the current state of Disney and exactly how he was actually pointing fingers and pulling the blame game on why there's less and less people attending the Disney parks, on the weather and the humidity and all these different weird things, and a lot of different things going into all of that, and how he also went over how there's a lot of pullbacks with Star Wars, Marvel, and more, and their cost containment plan now in full effect. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what Bob Iger had to say about the official box office collapse of Indiana Jones 5: The Dial of Destiny, because now it has come to a full stop. It's standing still at roughly 260 million worldwide, and a lot of this had to do with the, several factors that we've talked about repeatedly, but Indiana Jones 5 is literally the worst failure over at Lucasfilm, and is a true embarrassment for Kathleen Kennedy. There's no doubt about that. And how the Disney board right now is in a big shakeup. They're very much divided. Many of them are calling for Kathleen Kennedy's firing. Others are trying to defend her to keep her role over at Lucasfilm to run all things Star Wars. So it's a very big mess, and it's a very big, chaotic situation over at Disney. However, Bob Iger has been really kind of delivering very insane statements about the current state of Disney and his view of the box office results for Indiana Jones 5 and more. Let's discuss. Now, with Bob Iger recently delivering his take on the state of Disney, he recently touched on the box office results for Indiana Jones 5. He delivered the following to everyone. Now, I would be lying if we didn't recognize a big downturn in our latest Lucasfilm installment, but we have acknowledged this and are looking into the reasons why we may have completely missed our mark with our previous box office return goals and projections. We have come to the conclusion that we did deal with a marketing mishap, much like Kathy Kennedy suggested, and it was one big flaw on our end that we had with this film. Artistically, the film is fine, but I think there was some kind of cinema fatigue lately, and to top that off, we were also not properly investing into our marketing strategies for the latest Indiana Jones film. We don't put any full blame on the performances in this movie on our actors and their actresses, and of course for the script, but we do firmly believe there is a cinema fatigue, if you will, and we have to figure that out on how to course correct all of that. Now guys, before I move on to the next thing that Iger talks about, let me just say one thing about Iger, is that this is almost like a copy and paste scenario of what he said with the Han Solo film when that truly failed. You guys may recall about how he mentioned that there's this Star Wars fatigue and how that's something that they need to analyze and fix and really kind of take a moment back and focus on hiatus. Now, the problem with that is that he's doing the same exact thing here, which is just a typical robotic corporate response. Everybody knows that Bob Iger does not even believe what he's saying, and that he's only trying to really kind of keep Disney afloat at this point. He knows it, we all know it, and even the Disney board knows it, that they are in deep trouble with what's going on with the Disney parks, the movies, the streaming service known as Disney Plus, and even the merchandise guys are falling to an all-time low in different categories. And that just goes to show you that Disney is really going backwards now. It's sad but true, guys, but based on what they're doing with Snow White, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later because we got quite an interesting number of subjects to cover about that. What they are about to do with Snow White, I believe, is going to be even worse than what they have done with The Little Mermaid. I believe it's going to be cringe on a whole new level for Disney, to the point where it's really going to tarnish them permanently. And yes, I don't believe there's any way turning around from that. But looking onwards here, we know that Bob Iger is literally just losing his mind. He extended his contract until 2026 because, let's face it, he wants to save his legacy. He's very much, the type of person that does not want to leave on a bad note. He wants to leave on a good note. And The board, we've talked about this, they are leaving it up to the success and/or failure of Captain Marvel, Wish, and the Haunted Mansion to decide whether or not they want to fire him. And again, I brought this up many times. Bob Chapek extended his contract by 3 years. In June of 2022, where is he now? Same exact thing applies here. You guys may not see him running Disney by 2025. Same exact scenario. So moving onwards here, he goes on to elaborate further. Now, the goal is to focus on better scenarios. However, we will be, of course, holding many meetings about this in the near future on how we are to take our failures from Indiana Jones and how we can apply that marketing mishap to our other releases this year, such as the Marvels, Wish, and, of course, other projects like Snow White for next year. We have no intentions to divide these fandoms or communities that grow up with these franchises, but we just want to focus on entertainment and providing people an entertaining time in the cinema or at home. Our box office turnout for Indy 5 is something that has no connection with the artistic side or the creative end of that film. I just feel that we are dealing with a lot of competition at the time, and perhaps we are dealing with a different generation that didn't fully understand what the franchise was all about. Now, again, he doesn't know what he's talking about, guys. Basically, he's also saying, we're not dividing anybody here. We're not dividing communities or, people that grow up with these franchises, etc., etc. He absolutely is dividing fandoms and communities. Look at what he has done with Snow White. Look at what he has done with The Little Mermaid. And heck, look at what they did with Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, and where did that lead them? Right here. They lost a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and by the way, guys, it is creating a Lucasfilm domino effect. We've been talking about this, and we have a lot more to talk about that because it's an ever-evolving development of how you're going to have this Lucasfilm purge that's going to take place progressively over the next 2 years. This way it doesn't interfere with some of the other projects in different phases of development. This is going to include firings, rearranging of specific departments at Lucasfilm, stuff like that. So there's a lot more to discuss on that whole situation. But yeah, this is a very interesting scenario, the fact that Bob Iger is so naive to say that we're not here dividing anybody, we're not here getting involved in culture wars or anything like that. Meanwhile, they are. They're the ones that are starting this, and there's no denying that. So Bob Iger needs to go, the board needs to go, at least 80% of them have to, and we need Kathleen Kennedy to be completely removed and to apologize, a real apology, to the Star Wars fandom and to the Indiana Jones fandom itself. So guys, this is a very interesting time. We are approaching the later half of 2023, and it is not looking good for Disney and Lucasfilm especially, and 2024 I believe is going to be even worse. So guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.